Welcome back. Now, a political and legal storm has erupted in Abeokuta, that's the capital of Ogun State, as the management of the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library has denounced what it calls, quote, an unlawful and malicious invasion of its premises by operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, demanding accountability, restitution, and public apology. Well, according to the library management, EFCC operatives allegedly stormed the complex during a recent operation in which 93 suspected internet fraudsters were arrested and 18 vehicles along with numerous mobile devices seized. Now, several people were also said to have sustained bodily injuries during the operation. Addressing the matter during a news briefing in Abeokuta, the managing director of the library now, Vitalis Otese, said the act undermines the credibility of the nation's security framework while also putting lives at risk. The library management is now seeking 3.5 billion naira in compensation and a public apology. That's from the EFCC now, warning that it will head to court if, of course, the EFCC does not meet its demands within 7 days. Responding, of course, the EFCC maintained that the library itself was not the target. In a statement, the Commission spokesperson Dele Oyewale said the arrest occurred at a hotel located within the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library complex following intelligence that the suspects were holding a pool party to celebrate alleged illicit activities. Now, with both sides entrenched, the dispute now threatens to escalate into a full-blown legal battle unless, of course, some kind of settlement is reached within the 1 week ultimatum. Well, now being joined on the program by Libros Oshoma, a legal practitioner and political affairs analyst. Libros, thank you very much for coming on the program. Well, not a good one, you would want to say, and you know, this back and forth now between the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library and, of course, the EFCC. What do you make? What do you make of it? And I mean, how do you think the EFCC should respond to this?
Yeah, you know, it is everything now is reduced to the prism of politics, and it's very unfortunate. I had followed that raid in Obasanjo's library closely. Not in the library, a hotel.
The hotel within the, yes, exactly.
A swimming pool in the hotel situated in the library. And I followed that story closely. And let's even start. Obasanjo created the EFCC. When he created the EFCC, when they started, they went after the advanced fee fraud guys before they started doing all other fraud-related cases. So the question I would ask, if Obasanjo were in office and the EFCC go to raid places and arrest suspects, would this hue and cry be entertained? The answer is no. EFCC had come out to say, no, these people are going to be charged. The question I expected the Obasanjo Library to be asking is, this matter should be thoroughly investigated, and if the people are found culpable, they should be prosecuted for their crime. And I do not know if there is any special. Being a former president's library does not exclude it from being assessed if the premises is being used for any crime. That's the first thing that we should establish here. And so, if people who are alleged to have committed crime and using the place as a cover-up, then I think, apart from the fact that it's a place that is reverent, is a place belonging to a former president, I think the Obasanjo Presidential Library office should have been the one to even invite EFCC to say that there are people whose source of income, or people of questionable integrity and character, are coming to hold parties here. So we want you to come profile them and not to use the place as a shade. So what it means now is that if anybody commits crime, just go and hold yourself up there in the hotel in Obasanjo's library, and then automatically you enjoy immunity and the area becomes a no-go area. I do not like the fact that people begin to introduce politics it's a witch hunt. Is Obasanjo a candidate? Is Obasanjo just contesting election? Obasanjo has supported candidates opposition in this country. And I do not think that if a hotel within the premises of a library is being used by people who are suspected to have committed fraud, and an agency of government duly recognized to investigate such matters goes there, they don't need to announce they are coming, because if they do.
Now, I was going to ask you, should the EFCC probably have written to the management of the library that they wanted to raid the place, because that's what the management of the library is saying, that they were not informed and all of that?
What the management of the Presidential Library should be doing henceforth, anybody that is coming to hold party in their area, they should take extra measure to profile such persons. The EFCC has no obligation to do them a letter when it is a covert operation, especially given the fact that security matters, the moment you write letters, the moment you inform anybody who is not part of that operation, the tendency that your suspect will escape. The same Nigerians who are blaming the FCC today will be the ones to say, oh, why did you write? Why did you have to inform them? If you truly wanted to arrest them, you should have informed them. You informed them because you wanted them to run away. So, other people were arrested in Victoria Island in a house with bunk beds and the rest, and kudos was given to EFCC. And now that it's Obasanjo Presidential, a hotel in Obasanjo Presidential Library, why the hue and cry? EFCC has been carrying out raids in other places, and there's no hue and cry. So the thing is, for me, the thing is, these people who are arrested should be given, fair hearing. They should have their day. Anybody that is profiled, that is found not wanting, should be apologized to and possibly compensated. But the EFCC have said, well, all of them have confessed to their crime, and they are going to arraign them. So what is the noise about? Oh, they are going to sue for damages, that they had visitors, they had occasion. If you had visitors in your midst, and at the same time you are housing suspected fraudster, certainly you're going to you are inviting this kind of raid upon yourself. They say a man, somebody who carried ant-infested firewood on his head, invite termites to his house. Just the same way you say a man who tied a corn around his neck would invite hen and chicken to be his playmate. So if those people were not in your premises, if the EFCC did not get the hint that that party was holding in your premises by suspected fraudster, certainly EFCC would not have any business there. Because I've also read the statement of the EFCC. They have said that these people, they were supposed to hold the party somewhere else. But because they wanted to use the Obasanjo Presidential Library, the hotel they have recovered, they decided to go there. And I think that the statement from the Presidential Library, for me, it is condemnable because of the status of the person of Obasanjo, who during his tenure created the EFCC. Everything about him should be seen to be supportive of the job, of the work of EFCC. The statement should have been different, should have been to encourage them, should have been to ensure that they have their day in court. Justice is not selective. Justice is, meted out equally. And not to be issuing statement that the EFCC ought not to have come. For me, that such a statement is it's actually laughable. And we shouldn't read politics into a clear operational job of the EFCC. The question I have consistently asked is, are these people culpable? It's just like politicians who are arrested. Tambuwa was invited for questioning. And somebody is saying that, it's because it's ADC. During Buhari's campaign, there were some people who supported Buhari who were saying that, yes, even if it is selective justice, let him come. Let him select those justices. When the next person comes, let him select those ones that are there now. So for us as a people, the question should be, are you culpable? Was your hand found in the cookie jar? If it is found, don't say because others have stolen and they went to APC and nobody's looking at them. Don't worry. Their own day will come. those people, their day will come when there will be a party that is not APC. They also will be arrested and invited like that.
Look, let me ask you this. Do you think that a former president, I mean, as a former president of the country, do you think the EFCC should have probably accorded former President Obasanjo some special respect, like probably informing him before raiding the place? I mean, especially when you consider the fact that that place is actually part of his premises.
That's the premises of his business. I do not think that EFCC ought to have accorded him any special status or special respect. What I think, rather, if I were Obasanjo, Daddy Obasanjo, a general of many wars, a two-time president of this country, the former president as a military president, military head of state, and a two-time civilian president of this country. If I were him, the statement I would issue would be to apologize to EFCC that we allowed our scrutiny, we relaxed our scrutiny, that we did not see that, this kind of people were going to use our facility. We encourage them, and that henceforth, we will want to collaborate with them, if possible, have undercover agents in the premises to enable us screen whoever is coming to use the facility to avoid this kind of, discouraging and disgraceful act next time. Because, like I said, it's a security matter. And for security matter, Obasanjo is not the president. He does not receive security briefings. When he was the president, he understands certainly he will receive security briefings. But now he's not the president. He's just an ordinary citizen with a status. And if a crime or alleged criminals are said to be hiding in his place of business, I think it should be, the organization should even be the whistleblower to the EFCC to invite them, open their doors widely to them. But having said that, to invite them to give him that special recognition to say, oh, sir, we write to inform you that some people are going to hold pool party in your place. So if you now refuse them from holding that pool party and the EFCC is not able to arrest them the way they have arrested them, and then they now, you blow the cover, they are now aware that EFCC is after them, how do you arrest such persons? And so, why I agree that there should be no selective justice, that the law should apply to everybody equally, irrespective of party affiliation, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of sex. But at the same time, once we see EFCC invite people, we should not, especially in cases like this, we have condemned EFCC in certain instances. We should also, in cases like this, encourage them and ensure that justice is served to all parties concerned. I've handled matters in EFCC. I've also condemned their approach. But in some cases, I've also praised them to say, yes, the way you are doing things, continue. If you do it this way, ordinarily, people will not complain. We've talked about EFCC handing over recovered assets to federal government. The Mayfield's recovered assets to federal government. And the swiftness with which they were handed over. We also encourage EFCC to hand over exhibits recovered swiftly like that to complainants, to petitioners. Also raise this. So we've also talked about EFCC talking less and working more. So now, the same EFCC that we have asked to talk less and work more, we're also now asking them to write letters, to begin to write letters to people. That means we are blowing hot and cold from the same mouth. So for me, in all of this, DEJI, it is simple. We should encourage our security agencies to do their work irrespective of who is involved. The question should be, only one question should always be, are these people culpable? Is there any reasonable suspicion that these people have actually or are attempting to commit this crime? And the investigation should follow. And once that is done, if the offense are bailable, let them be granted bail and let them have their day in court.
Okay, now the library, of course, I mean the presidential library is seeking 3.5 billion naira in compensation and asking for a public apology, and that if that is not done, it will head to court, of course, in 7 days. And if the EFCC, as I know, I mean the EFCC, I know, of course, I don't think would do that. Would give the Obasanjo Presidential Library now the 3.5 billion naira, or even I can't even see the possibility of the EFCC tendering any public apology. So it's looking like this is going to end up in court.
First and foremost, when I saw that statement from Obasanjo Library, I thought it was face-saving, that the almighty Obasanjo Library could allow its facility to be used by suspected fraudsters. And so they needed to issue a statement to demand apology, and all of that. Because even if the people arrested have confessed, as alleged by EFCC in their statement, if they have confessed to committing the crimes that they were alleged to have committed, and they are charged before a court, why do you now think that the court will restrain EFCC or will, whip EFCC for arresting those people the manner they were arrested? A man is alleged to have committed an offense and is holed up somewhere, and the security agencies went there and arrested the person. And you say, oh, because I'm the owner of the house, I ought to have been informed, even though the man is facing trial. And so I seek damages and compensation. I wonder the courts that will look at you and say, yes, an alleged, criminal was found in your place, and so for that, you'll be granted compensation. Look, DEJI, let me say this. If it was an ordinary person, I can bet you the owner of that premises will probably be arrested alongside.
Sure.
The owner of that premises, the respect they have given to those people is the fact that it's Obasanjo's Presidential Library. They probably would have even taken the directors away if it was just an ordinary hotel that does not have that presidential imprimatur. They would probably arrested the director and say, oh, you are conniving, you are aware, and that one will be struggling to remove his head. We've seen where governors would demolish hotels, wicked demolish hotels in Port Harcourt for allegedly violating COVID protocol without a court order. So we see these things here. And so if it was some other hotel, I can tell you that they won't even be asking for compensation. By now, they'll be looking for who to bail them from EFCC custody. And all of us will be blaming EFCC for arresting the owner. Or in some cases, say, well, for you to have allowed them, that means you know them or you even have a connivance with them. Maybe the man was innocently doing his business. But because it's Obasanjo's Presidential Library, a hotel within the premises, people visit that place, a tourist center. Everybody wants to go to Obasanjo's Presidential Library. They ought to screen people. That's why I believe that they ought to put stricter measures, screen people, especially young boys coming to do parties in such places, considering also the level of internet fraud, fee fraud, and the impersonation that we have in our society today, which was also, apart from the general corruption, which was also one of the reasons why Obasanjo, in his wisdom, in 2004, set up the Economic and Financial Crime Commission. So which now, during his time, they used it selectively. That is why every move by EFCC is presumed to be selective. Even though truly, in West and indeed, you find out that when the ruling party is in place, the EFCC look the other way, and then they always, focus at the opposition. My advice to EFCC also is, ordinarily, there would be this assumption if their job is done across board. If we see them arrest people in the ruling party also, nobody will raise eyebrow, nobody will suspect anything.
Now, we've also seen the EFCC go after members of the ruling political party. A typical case, of course, you're aware of is the Yaya Bello case and all the drama that trailed it and the way the EFCC handled it. And there are quite a number of cases like that. Then can we tie it, can we say with all these cases that we've seen now, that the EFCC, in going after Tambuwal was really going after the opposition in this country, especially when you consider the fact that, look, members of the ruling party have also been arrested, interrogated, and some of them are actually standing trial.
That's why I'm saying, DEJI, because it is like the case of Ayabelo you mentioned, these are a drop in the ocean compared to the general malaise in the society. So that's why, because you have just tiny drops here and there, and that's why people would say, certainly, that, when it's the ruling party, even when it was PDP, it was very convenient for them to look the other way. Now it is APC. So, if assuming that EFCC's, whip, it's across board generally, without favoritism, then anybody that raises that allegation, the general public will tell him, go and sit down, go and answer your case. Just in some cases, people still say it now. So, but when politicians are arrested, they appeal to sentiment. Yeah. Oh, it is political witch hunting. Oh, it's because I'm in opposition, and all of that. And truly, because there are instances, that is why you'll find that people will take those, allegations seriously. But if these rules are applied uniformly, irrespective of political affiliation, then certainly all those things will not hold water. That does not mean that these people who are, arrested, there are no allegations tying them to this. So there are always allegations. For me, it is for them to go have their day in court. Have your day, and then, hire your lawyers, and then let the FCC also. Because most times, prosecution starts from investigation. You find out that when investigations are boggled, prosecution becomes wishy-washy, and then the suspect or the accused person is asked to go by the court, because any doubt in the mind of the court is resolved in favor of the accused person. So if all the allegations are just assumptions, and then you get to court, there is no nexus between these allegations and the person you have arrested. The court is certainly going to ask the person, no matter how painful it is, the court is certainly going to ask the person to go home, discharged and acquitted. And then, certainly the people will say, well, EFCC has boggled that one again. So that's why, for me, I think my appeal now should be to the EFCC. Yes, certainly, if you do your work well, people will not point accusing finger. You're doing your work. We'll give you kudos in some areas, but let this job be done uniformly and professionally without influence from anybody.
Well, Libros Oshoma, I think we'll just have to leave it there. Thank you very much for coming on the program as always.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. All right, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Don't go away. Opinions are free. Facts are sacred. But truth is universal. How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI 360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI 360, dissecting the issues.